All of Belize is now under a state of emergency, which will remain in effect for the entire month of April. Some people are stressed just thinking about things that can keep them occupied during that time. And by occupied, I surely don't mean things like binging on junk food. At Colorblind Multimedia, our mantra is opening minds. And so, we encourage reading as one of those positive things that stimulates the mind. With that said, we bring to you CB Book Club. I'm your host, Danielle Neal. We already know that we have several legendary Belizean authors. Many of them credited their success to the dynamic and diverse society we enjoy. In today's edition of Colorblind's Book Club, I'm very excited to welcome Mrs. Cathy Esquivel. Mrs. Cathy, welcome to our show.
Glad to be here.
Mrs. Cathy, most people know you as the wife of the Right Honorable Manuel Esquivel, but you have certainly made your own name for yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you. Well, I hope that I'm more than just the wife of somebody. I have always loved reading and writing. And as you say, Belize is so diverse, it has so much to offer. And so naturally, I like to write about Belize. I have had several short plays and a couple of full-length plays written and produced, short stories, and I did write a book in the late 80s called Under the Shade that was published. And recently, I'm very proud to have had another book published called Benji.
And did you develop a love for writing at an early age, or was it something that kind of occurred later in your life?
Well, I don't have any training in writing. I mean, my background was always in mathematics. But yes, I've always written, I've always read. But I suppose as you get older, maybe you think you have more things to say and more time to say it.
Okay, so let us jump right into the books. Was Under the Shade your first book, and can you tell us a bit what that's about?
Okay, that's an adventure story. And of course, in Belize, the drug trade, which started to really take hold in the 80s, became all pervasive. And so it is a story with the drug trade in the background, but it's really about how people respond to it, how people get drawn into it. And of course, I love that picture. That's a young picture. It's also, it's really about people. It's not really in print anymore, but I am just re-editing it, and it will be up on Kindle within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, that's great. And so that leads me to your next book, one that I've actually read, Benji. Can you tell us about Benji, the important message that you shared in Benji?
Okay, well, I think Benji certainly shows it's better edited, and I think it's better written. And I think maybe it comes more from the heart. The main character is someone who is schizophrenic, but the story is not really about mental illness. Again, it's an adventure story. And again, the drug trade and how it impacts on people's lives is central to it. But the main character is based very loosely on my late brother-in-law. Now, for whom we were the caregivers. Of course, my late brother-in-law never got involved in any of the activities in the book. But his those people who knew him would recognize his mannerisms, his way of speaking. And so what I hope to bring out in it is that the human dignity, the human value of everybody, regardless of whether they're mentally ill or not, and that nobody is a throwaway person. Everybody is a full human being. And I hope that that comes out in the novel.
Okay, and I can imagine that Benji would be your favorite because you can explain to our viewers how much mental illness and mental patients are dear to your heart, being a member of the Mental Illness Association, if you'd like to share a bit about that.
Yeah, well, I was a founding member of the Mental Health Association. Actually, it got started after I attended a meeting with Mrs. Betty Carter in the late 80s, and we started the association then. Basically, it's an advocacy group, and what we do is we advocate for people with mental health issues and their families. We do try to educate and discuss to reduce stigma and discrimination and to provide services. And one of the services we have been able to do, well, first of all, we got the money to build the acute unit in Belmopan, the acute psychiatric unit. And recently we were also, well, I say recently, it's now 5 years ago, we got the resource center for the mentally ill and homeless built in Belize City, and that provides social support. So hygiene, meals, a place to go, and we're very proud of that. And actually the proceeds for this book, although I have to say there's not that much proceeds in writing, but whatever there is goes to the Wellcome Resource Center.
So, Ms. Scotty, how can people go out and purchase Benji? Like you said, we are now purchasing with a cause because all the profits from this book, all the sales, goes to the Resource Center.
Well, it is in all the bookshops, which of course are closed right now. But also, Kubola has finally got it up on Amazon Kindle. So you can purchase it on Amazon. Just type in the name Benji and it will come up. And you can read it on your Kindle.
Okay. And so what do you want readers to get out of this book? What do you want them to understand most after reading it?
Well, there's a whole lot of things. Obviously, one of the things I want people to understand is that, as I said, everybody is a human being with human qualities. Nobody is a throwaway person. So that's one thing. But of course, it's an adventure story. So I want people to enjoy the book. It features Belize City, Dangriga, City River, and a few other places along the way. It's a story about Belize. One of the characters is someone from a very dysfunctional family. And so it tries to explore how he becomes a dysfunctional person himself, not to excuse his actions, but to understand that people find themselves in situations that they don't choose and over which they have very little control. So it explores a whole lot of social issues, attitudes towards women, both by women and by men. As I say, there's a whole lot of different things in there. And of course, people are free to agree or disagree. that's the whole point of reading, to look at somebody else's point of view and to try and broaden your own perspective on life. And people have told me that when they read it, they say, oh, this is Belize. I recognize Belize. And I suppose that's something that I want people to do as well.
That's great. So, Ms. Kathy, with Belize on lockdown, some people are really stressed out, others are really agitated. Do you recommend reading as a therapy to help people through in such a dreadful time? This is new, very new for everybody. So would you recommend reading?
If you enjoy reading like I do, it gives you a chance to read. I suppose I tell people, read what you enjoy. Don't read as if it's a duty and a task. So if you enjoy reading light romance novels, read light romance novels. If you enjoy reading factual things, biographies, read what you enjoy. Don't force yourself to read because you think you should. And really, I have to say, the more you read, the more you enjoy.
That's really great advice, Ms. Kate. Are you working on any new pieces? Do you have any new books that you plan to release?
I'm actually working on a biography memoir of Manuel and myself. And I've kind of finished the bare bones of it. So now I'm editing it. And now that I can't do anything else, I think in the next couple weeks, I'll get that done.
That is great.
And then I have a book of short stories I'm working on that I'll work on. And if anyone out there is in theater, I have 2 plays ready for production. And if anybody wants to work on them, I love the writing part, but I am not up to producing and directing. They're both lighthearted. One is a musical. They're both comedies. If anybody wants to produce a play once we get out of the state of emergency, please contact me. I have the scripts ready.
Well, I hope everybody is hearing, and I hope that somebody reach out to you as they finish looking at this interview. But with that, Ms. Kathy, any final words? Any final message for our viewers at home who are at home just staying put and trying to stay safe?
No, just, I suppose, stay calm. I know it's very difficult for some people financially, and I recognize that's incredibly hard. But in the long run, we just have to do what we have to do, and stay in touch with your loved ones, and stay safe.
That's good. Thanks so much, Ms. Kathy, for joining us. Thank you for being here with us. And just know that you will forever be etched as one of the founding members of our Colorblind Book Club. And hopefully we'll be coming back to you soon. So take care. And thanks once again for joining us. We are now at the end of today's edition of CB's Book Club. If you want to be interviewed, send us an email at info@colorblind.bz. You can also email us if you have suggestions for Belizean books that we should promote in our CB Book Club. Also, continue following us on Facebook for even more of CB's Book Club updates. Thank you.